Hi, everybody. Welcome. It is now 1 minute after the hour, so I'm just going to jump right in, and I'm sure more people will filter in as we go. So hi, everybody. My name is Kat. And I'm an enterprise customer success manager with Jotform. So today we're going to be talking about reporting, which as a total data geek, I am super excited for. As usual, I'll make sure to also reserve some time towards the end for questions. And then if we don't get to all of the questions, you can always reach out to our enterprise sales team or to our awesome support team if you're already an enterprise user. All right, so let's just jump right in here. So if you're already a Jotform user, then the screen that I'm sharing now is probably pretty familiar to you. And if you haven't had a chance to get into Jotform yet, then this is the My Forms dashboard. This is going to be your default landing page when your users or you log into your Jotform Enterprise server. We're not going to worry so much about the My Forms dashboard today, since we'll be chatting primarily about reports. So please note, though, that as we move through the demo, this demo enterprise server we're working in today is not HIPAA enabled. So there may be some differences when it comes to sharing and viewing data with the reporting tool within a HIPAA environment versus our standard dedicated enterprise environment, like the one that we're going to be using for today's session. But first, I kind of want to talk a little bit about the reporting tool itself. So Jotform's reporting tool here is a really great way to visualize, analyze, and present your data in a multitude of different ways and reporting formats. Our visual report builder uses our much-loved drag and drop builder functionality for even further customization and white labeling, which, as we know for our enterprise users, is extremely important. Building, analyzing, sharing your reports shouldn't be a chore. So we have created this reporting tool to help streamline that process, even if your form is long or your filters are complex. But let's get reporting. So I've already got a form that has been set up with a customized visual report that we're going to spend some time within later on. But first, I want to go through some of the other kinds of reports that you can create with Jotform and that you can see on my screen now. Now, if I just go back and I'm within all reports here, or even within the My Forms dashboard, we can create reports as an individual user. We can also create reports to collaborate on or gatekeep if we'd like with a team. But to create a report as an individual user, we would just do exactly what we had just done. We'd navigate to the My Report screen from our drop-down menu. And then we click Create Report. And from here, we can select the report that we want to create. Today, however, I'd like to create a report within one of our existing teams. So from the My Reports dashboard, we'll see the reports that have been created under those teams and can simply click Create Report if we'd like to create a new one, or if we click into that team workspace, we can click Create, select Report, and from here, we can choose the reporting format that we want to use. All of these reports that we are seeing now are pretty self-explanatory, like creating an Excel file report. You can add an RSS listing to share to a newsfeed, or you can utilize our new Digest Emails reporting tool. One of the most frequently used formats, other than the visual report builder and the new Digest emails, which are fast becoming a favorite of our current users, is the HTML table listing report. So using this report, I'm going to attach it to this form here. This is a really great way to showcase your submission data that you want to show in a table format, but you don't want to share the actual Jotform table where this data is stored. You can select the form fields to show. Let's see that we don't really need to show terms and conditions or signature here. And then we can also configure our report to control certain functions available for those who we share the report with. So I've selected my fields. I'll configure my report. Let's show our edit URLs, and then we're just going to hit create. From here, we can decide if we'd like to share the report with this direct link, or like many of our reporting tools, we have access to the iframe code to embed it into an external web page. If we click open report, this is what it looks like. Again, if you're familiar with Jotform tables, you'll notice that it does stay in that table format, but this is a really great way to share this report publicly without having to share that access into your Jotform table. All right, let's head back and let's click Create, Report, And let's try out our new digest emails. So as I mentioned, this is a new functionality that we've recently released. This allows us to specify the frequency of which the email is sent, the time that it's sent to our selected recipients here. We'll send it to 6 a.m. to those Edmontonians out there. But we can also decide which kind of recipients that we'd like. We can also, if we click next, we'll select the form. And I know that some of you are noticing those multiple selections there. We're going to talk about that in a second. And we can customize the look of the email. If we want to, we can add more forms as we saw earlier. We can always connect it as we go, add as many forms as we'd like. If we want to see more submission data across multiple forms. And of course, because we're building this in a team, we're only going to see the forms available and created within that team. And so this is a really great way to ensure that external and internal eyes are viewing their needed data on a regular basis that's automated so that you don't have to worry about sending these kind of reminder emails on a regular basis yourself. You can create multiple digest reports that you can then specify the number of forms or the specific forms, or if they want to go to a specific recipient instead. And there will be some differences though within a HIPAA environment. Just keep in mind that it might be a little bit different as it pertains to external recipients viewing that PHI that you've collected if you are using a HIPAA environment. Okay, so let's say we want to put together something a little more visual. You want charts and you want statistics and you want those robust filtering capabilities. Well, have no fear, because this is where our visual report builder can help. So as I mentioned previously, I already have a visual report built out. However, if we wanted to start from scratch, we would just go ahead and use the same steps that I've outlined here already. Just go into the visual report builder. We can build the report completely from scratch once we select our form, or as you can see, we can also import existing data. But let's select a form here, and we can do that there. All right. It's going to prompt us here. Oh, we've already created this. So if I go into new report, you can see here, I can create a new report totally blank from scratch, or I can use the extended or compact reports where that data is already purported in there. And all we have to do is just go in and edit. And that's just the beginning. So as we can see here, this is my pre-built report. This is a report that I built from scratch. I utilized certain basic elements, text, header. I could add shapes, images, and text to where I'd like them, but I've also customized the look of each report page with particular form fields that may not necessarily appear in the same way that they do within the form, but in the way that I've deemed most important for my report viewers to view first. I can select, I can change, I can drag and drop these form fields at any time, control exactly how they look, where they are on the page, and then we can just delete them if we'd like. And on the second slide of my report, I've dropped some important information. Since this is a demo nonprofit donation collection form, the most important information, of course, is the amount of donations that we have selected. So I've dropped this important information here first. And the amounts of these donations are displayed in two different ways, which we can specify by clicking on the gear icon. Just as a side note, while we're here, you'll also notice you have the ability to duplicate those fields. You can lock the field in its current position and, of course, delete the field just from clicking on it. But let's click into those field properties. So once we are clicked into the field properties, and depending on the data collected, of course, and that's collected within that one particular field, we have a few options. So we can specify what kind of chart we want to visualize the data within. We can set a specific metric. We can add a legend or a table grid, and we can control the positioning of that chart. We also have other options within the data tab where we can select certain chart options, and the style tab where we can set the look and the feel itself with certain fonts, alignments, and other style elements. And this can be done in each field if we choose to do so, which is especially useful if you're wanting to make sure that you're meeting your brand standards. So I'm just going to scroll back up to the first slide of the report. You can see that we have other customizations that we can do beyond our report elements. We could select the background color. We can select font elements within these different text fields here, and we can do more on a per slide basis by just doing exactly what we had done with our fields. We're just going to click into the elements that we want to change. If we want, we can also click into the layout settings icon for some evergreen report customization. And then of course, this little icon here is where we can click to see all of our slide thumbnails. We can easily navigate, duplicate, delete, or add a new slide from here if we like to. We can also, with filtering, choose to showcase only certain data sets depending on the filter itself. So for example, on this report, let's say that we only want to see submissions that have been submitted between today. So we're going to say if it is less than today, and let's say June 1st. Submission date greater than or equal to June 1st. When I hit apply the filter here, you'll notice that the report changes to only show submissions that were received before today, including today, and of course after and including June 1st of this year. So we specified that within the filter, and let's say that for some reason we're like, okay, between June 1st and July 12th is when we want that data set to be presented. We could actually lock these filters here so that even if we've invited a collaborator to this report, they wouldn't be able to change them. This is kind of how it's going to be and the data that we're going to see within this report. Of course, if we unlock all filters and clear all filters, the report goes back to how it was before. And you can, if you choose, let's say you've applied those filters and you're like, okay, now I want another report that shows March to April 30th or anything like that, we can actually go in and duplicate this report and we can apply those filters there. So you can customize your reports not only to have the colors and fonts match those within your brand standards, but you can have those repeat itself and show different data sets if you'd like to within the filter. So you can really make the report yours and exactly the information that you're wanting to see. So let's preview this report here. All right, so this is kind of what we will preview to see that those who we send our report will see. When they go through it here, you can see that we've got a navigation bar here. We can set it to 200% if we'd like, but of course we have the fit option and a print and download button that we can control as well. We can also download our report if we want to save a digital hard copy. All right, so we built our report, we've got it, everything that we want to, everything is organized perfectly. We have the filters that we'd like to have if we have any, but now we're ready to share our report. So there are a few different ways that we can do this. Let's click on that publish button. So you'll notice that when this report is set to private, this means that only those that I've invited via this email section below will be able to view the report. They'll need to log into Jotform or as a guest user to your server with the same email address that's been entered here to be able to view the information. This is very similar to what private and company access is like on our forms. And if we want to make the report available to anyone to view, we can make it public, or we can set it to company access only. That'll also verify the user's email address contains this domain that we specify. And of course, for enterprise, you have your enable SSO option. So you could also have it so that they are required to sign in to your connected SSO integration to be able to view this report. I'm going to set it to public for now, but you'll see that as I clicked through these, we do have different options per setting. So I'm going to just keep the print and download buttons clear here, but we can also, if we'd like to, show those two buttons that we saw earlier when we previewed, because let's just say I want anyone who sees this report just to be able to view that data. But what if I don't want to just send it by a link? Well, I can easily embed that on my website. So you would just click over into the embed tab as we did, and you can utilize this embed code here. You'll see that it has the full script code there. Or if you have a WordPress site or a Medium post that you want to include the report in, you can utilize this specific link. This will embed the report with the permissions that we specified. So even if I embed it on my publicly accessible web page and I've made the report public, but I've disabled those print and download buttons, that's how it will be embedded in your website in the toolbar. And regardless of how it's shared, our visual reports update in real time. So you can share your report and not have to worry about resending the URL or updating the report itself. When you have new submissions, the report updates itself. All right, so you'll be working primarily within the report builder for many of your reports, but you can also add a visual report element to your Jotform tables. So I'm going to navigate over to tables here for this one specific form. And keep in mind that once you've created a visual report for this form, like I've already done, that report will automatically be added to your tables view. But if you haven't created a visual report for the form yet, you can easily do so by just clicking Add Tab and then selecting Reports. And this is exactly kind of what we've gone through in the past here, and just a little bit of a different interface. We'll select the form, which of course was going to be this form, and then we can decide on what kind of format and view that we would like to do here. But let's click into the already existing report, and you'll see that we essentially have our report builder infrastructure within this new tables tab, and we can even filter. We can go up to these little three buttons here, and we can duplicate, delete, and perform the other functions that we could within the report builder. But you'll notice that there are a couple of more options that we have for this, like viewing pending payments, archive trashed entries as well. And then if we click into the form, we do also have some actions as it pertains to the actual form that we are reporting on if we'd like to. Adding a visual report to your table can be a massive asset to visualizing, of course, analyzing and optimizing your submission data. As you can see, the submission details for that form within your table view that can be further drilled down if you'd like. On that note, please make sure that you register for our next couple of sessions on tables, since we'll be chatting more about that and getting into advanced territory. And then, of course, you have the visual aid of your report here that also updates in real time. So this is especially useful when you are utilizing your table as a type of dashboard, which again, hint, hint, we're going to dive into in a future lunch and learn session. Okay, so I know this has been a lot of information, but we're not quite done yet. Before we wrap up, let's also talk a little bit about how you can automate your reporting if you choose to do so by adding a reporting element to your approval workflow. So to get to my approval workflow, I can click Approvals, or I can click into my Form Builder, which I've already got up here anyway. Click into Settings, click into Approval Flows, and then I'm going to click to edit my existing flow. But if you don't already have an approval flow built up, you can simply click to create a new one from this same screen. So you can see here, and I've already got this queued up, so let's just click into that tab. I've already got this approval flow built. It's a little bit of a complex one here, but I've just based it on certain elements. Let's delete some of these, including approval tasks. Now, let's say that once final approval has been received, or let's say that I want to add another approval task somewhere there, but regardless, I want to be able to add an approval report. So this approval report, let's just say that we want to just add it there once it's been approved. It's going to look a little bit different from what we've seen before. It's automatically created to look a little something like this. Now, we do have control over some of the reporting settings, the report's name, whether we want to password protect it or not, and we can fully customize the email in which this report is sent. Now, this report, as we can see, is going to give our recipient a peek into the approval flow's history, including who completed the approval tasks as set within the flow and when they had done so. But what if we want to send, say, one of the reports that we built out, like our HTML table listing report, or say our visual report? Let's head back into our report builder, and we'll just bring this over here so we're working together. Now, we can, depending on the access permissions that we've set, remember, add in this link to the report to, if we'd like, let's replace this element with an email element. We can go in and we can, as we can with most emails on Jotform Enterprise, let's just delete this outright. And then we can add in that link, we can hyperlink it, we can add it to an image if we'd like, but I'll just say for purposes of this example and to keep it as simple as possible, you can view the real-time updated report here. And we're just going to send in that link there. And once they click that or click anything that has been hyperlinked to, they'll be able to go in and see the report. Because we've set it as public, any recipient who received this email will be able to see it. Just wanting to again reiterate though that please keep in mind about what we chatted about if we navigate back to our report builder about these access settings. So if you've set the report to private, then that particular recipient within your approval flow will need to be invited to view the report. They can also request access to view it as well. Okay, so this has been a really quick peek into what you can do with Jotform reporting. Today, we took a quick look behind the curtain at our different reporting formats, our different tools, functionalities. We talked about creating different kinds of reports and how we can build and fully customize the visual report to our liking. We can use filters to convey certain data sets within that report. We can limit access to the report itself or not. And we can see how reports and different kinds of reports can be integrated into Jotform tables and of course into our approval workflows and more. There have been so many beautiful reports built within our Jotform Enterprise environments, and there's so much more to do on the platform itself. I hope that today was helpful to start you on your report building journey within Jotform Enterprise. And then, of course, I look forward to future sessions where we drill down a little bit more. So if you have any questions, please feel free to type them into the chat or the Q&A if you haven't already. But let's head in there. I see that we've already got a couple of questions there. Yes, so we do have, for the visual reports and for most of our reports now, they are just one report only, of course, with the exception of the digest emails. You can link multiple forms there. So we also are definitely working on we have some open feature requests in regards to reporting in the admin console. Of course, we couldn't guarantee an ETA on that, but please know that we have the feature request open for that. And we look forward to providing an update whenever we can. But again, we can't provide an ETA on that, but certainly we hear your suggestions and we certainly hear your feedback, and just want to say thank you for your voice and lending your voice to that request. All right. Okay, so I see one here. Can I still embed the report on my web page if it's not a WordPress site? Yeah, you can embed your report into a web page as long as you've set the report to be accessed publicly. This works across most reports, and then keep in mind, we also have that RRS feed report for your web page if you want to have it in a feed. But for the visual report, as we saw, you can utilize the embed code after you click to publish your report, and our other reporting methods are similar to what we saw earlier. All right, what's a HIPAA environment? So HIPAA is a different environment within our Jotform Enterprise, especially that is primarily for collecting PHI or personal health information. It just adds an extra level of security, but also adheres to HIPAA compliance from the actual HIPAA organization to be able to collect that information and keep it in a secure place nice to also be able to analyze it. If you have any questions about that, please look up Jotform. We have an entire HIPAA FAQ page for that. All right, so the next session on tables, that is going to be later on, I believe in August. I don't have that totally in front of me. Actually, now I do. So we are going to be chatting about tables. Advanced Jotform tables is going to be September 20th, and then our Jotform tables overview, which I also highly recommend attending first, that's going to be on September 6th. Okay. All right, so we've got, I'm new to Jotform. I need a beginner class for sure. Do you have any scheduled? We don't have any scheduled other than we have some great lunch and learns coming up on approvals, some popular workflows, and then of course our intro to tables. But if you take a look on our YouTube page, on our website, we have some amazing guides and walkthroughs there. All right. So I see a lot of other questions there in regards to tables. There is a method there and a question in regards to PDF. If you have any questions that are regarding reports, I'd be more than happy to answer them here. But if not, if you're already an enterprise customer, please reach out to support or to your business development manager. Okay, I see a couple more here. If I download my report, what format does it download in? So if you're downloading your visual report from the report builders we saw earlier, it's going to download in a PDF format. Other reports will download differently, that depending on their type. Like, for example, the Microsoft Excel report that we talked about earlier in the presentation will be downloaded in that format. Am I limited to only 2 fields per report slide? No. You can drag and drop as many fields as you like into the page at your discretion, of course, but you have full control over what that looks like in the visual report builder. Okay. I think that's all the questions that relate to reports. So I just want to say thank you, everybody, so much for being with me today. If you do have any further questions, as I mentioned, please reach out to our enterprise sales team or to our awesome customer support team if you're already an enterprise user. You can find more lunch and learns, webinars, walkthroughs, and quick video guides also on our YouTube channel and on our website that I've listed here. And we will have some of those great lunch and learn sessions coming up that, as I mentioned, will build upon each other. So please ensure that you are registered for these sessions at jotform.com/enterprise/lunch and learn sessions with hyphens between. I really appreciate your time again today. I look forward to our next Jotform Enterprise Lunch and Learn. Have a lovely rest of your day.